everybody. Happy Thursday. I'm Jen, if you didn't know that. Now you do, and we're all a little smarter for it. We'll go with that. I am the face, I am the personality, I am the antics behind Wine Antics. And every Thursday, mostly every Thursday, we get together and we have a little live discussion about wine and sometimes beer and spirits related topics. Tonight, if you can't tell by the title, it's Don't Be That Guy. Some bar etiquette tips for your next private event. And this is all kind of stemmed from my work over the summer that I've been doing in tasting events, festivals, working at weddings, talking to people behind the scenes in the industry. And I now have a perspective of both being somebody that has been drunk at the bar, right? Loving open bars at weddings and making a fool of myself at corporate events and holiday parties. I'm not ashamed to share my 20s with you guys. But that's where a lot of this came from. And I've already generated a little bit of a discussion on my personal Facebook page where I always put the topic for Wine Antics Live out there first, just to see what people think, where people are coming from certain topics. And I've really enjoyed doing that. And I really enjoy sharing that with everybody. So tonight I have a co-host. I'm so glad to have Stub joining us. How you doing, Stub? You're muted, Stub. I see the lips that are moving.
Sorry.
There you go.
I was typing furiously trying to share this out to everyone as you were introing the show of how we can be not that guy.
So you be not that guy.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's that guy. I never want to be that guy.
That's actually a great plug for the show. Don't be that guy.
Don't be
that doesn't share the live stream. And please take a moment and share it out.
Yes, don't be that guy who doesn't share this amazing show. Because it's awesome.
Very, very good plug, Stub. How's your week been?
Busy. I've been busy. I've actually had my garage door closed for most of the week.
What?
I know that's odd for me because even despite my work duties or otherwise, I still open my garage door to neighbors and friends. Haven't done that much this week. Been busy, so doing some work.
Good.
Yeah.
Good work.
No, doing some good stuff. I'm doing some good stuff.
When do you go down to Roanoke?
Oh, I think we're looking at the 18th of October next. My next appearance down there.
Okay. So Are we talking spooky beverages or are we moving into the holidays yet?
On the fence. We're debating. I'm in discussion with the producer over what the segment should be. And at this point, I'm debating between spooky beverages for the holidays, which is a little kitschy for those of us in the wine content producing community. However, there's some awesome things to do around that. But I'm also thinking of, because it's October and a lot of our winemaker friends, more specifically, and wine is where Jen, you and I both got our starts, even though we do beer and spirits as well. I'm thinking of maybe doing a segment on how wine is made.
What?
So we're kind of going back and forth with timing and abilities for those things. So I'm thinking about doing that. A little simple segment for the people of Southwestern Virginia on how wine is actually made.
Hey, no flow charts, no PowerPoints, no flow charts. It's got to be
no PowerPoints, no flow charts. All fun, all stuff, and all with tasting reds and whites. If I decide to do that, so we're on the fence about that.
All right.
How's your week been?
Very, very busy. I mean, like as all of us are, right? All of us are super busy during the week. I've had, at least for the last 3 weeks, at least 2 wine events per week. And on top of travel time and traffic and everything that I'm doing with live streaming, it's been a busy week. But I will say over the last couple of months, I've really got to taste a ton of different wines, more at the lower price points, but I've been very appreciative of my opportunity to work the events that I have.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. And also your travel, you mentioned that. I think there was an who did it. It was put out in many media things yesterday. We have the 3rd worst traffic in the country here, behind LA and New York, but we have 2 of the top 10 worst bottlenecks in the country for traffic.
Is it the Mixing Bowl?
No. Well, it's south of the Mixing Bowl down towards your area in the Stafford County area is one, and then I think there's northbound, a little north of that actually. It's weird, and
Huh.
then 66, some part of 66 got put in, and like,
Oh yeah.
actually, I think we have like top three. We have terrible traffic here, people.
That's awesome. It's
The seat
awesome.
of power for the world, the worst traffic. And I know all you LA people, we have a lot of friends in LA area, California. You're gonna bitch and moan about traffic. I know we have a lot of friends in New York. Most of our friends in New York probably don't actually drive. You're
No, probably not.
cab traffic on occasion. We have the third worst traffic in the country, and we don't have near as good a public transportation system as you guys do.
No, that's very true. Very
So, yeah,
true.
there's that. All right.
But oh, and one of the bigger things, I was named a scholarship winner for the Wine Bloggers Conference. So
Yes,
I'm very
you were.
excited. I'm officially going out to Santa Rosa now, coming up early November for both the Wine Marketing and Tourism Conference,
Nice.
as well as the Blogger Conference. Yes, I'm going.
Excited.
And all my accommodations are set for. Thank you, Maia. Thank you, Thea. Thank
Excellent.
you, Scholarship Fund, for putting Jen up.
It is excellent news.
So let's get into the meat of this discussion, and
Sure.
I think I like to start it off with the question that I posted, and I kind of set people up for this one. I'm putting you in a scenario. You're at a
did.
private event, a wedding, a Christmas party, a family reunion, any kind of private event. What's your bar etiquette? And I'll start with you, Stub, before I get into what other people said. What's your
Sure.
bar etiquette when you're at a private event?
At a private event, very generally, don't order anything too complicated, right? Which I'm gonna get into with my drink that I'm gonna remake another one of here in a minute. Yeah, don't ask them to make the newest, hippest cocktail around, because that's kind of a douche move. Don't engage them in conversation too long, and really don't flirt. And I say that as a guy, I flirt with everybody. I don't care if you're a man, woman, or otherwise. I will flirt with you, especially if you're serving me booze. Order your drink, say thank you, and take your leave, because there's probably a long line behind you, especially at private events.
And that actually, one of the comments that was put up, since you talked about it, well, I'll put it up, but that was actually one of the comments from our friend Brittany Penfold, and don't mind where the placing is, it's because I had a different flow in mind. But
That's
she
fine.
said pretty
Sorry.
much exactly the same thing, like, don't linger, don't talk to the bartender other than to order your drink. There's a bunch of people to serve, and you have to understand that process. I mean, how many of us have been at a wedding where there's a great bar and they have a limited amount of drinks, but the line is exceedingly long, right? It's because people want to linger around the bar and have that conversation.
Yep.
It's probably not the best thing. And I don't know if I'm missing something, but the the first comment was, there is bar etiquette. When I put this out, when I put this question out, there was there's bar etiquette. Yeah, there's no wrong answer or right answer to this. It's just how you can be a better person within the chaos, right? Like how you can better serve everybody else. And I think that's what etiquette boils down to. And I love what Brittany said, and I love what you said, being as somebody that's recently been behind the bar, right? Somebody who's been serving drinks.
Right.
I've experienced I don't have enough time to sit here and nurture your experience as much as I would love. And I've mostly been pouring wine, right? I would love to give you a 20-minute discussion on the wines that I'm pouring. However, the line is stacking up behind you and people are getting more and more irritated, and I want to be able to at least get that first round of people through. And then as the night goes later on, right, there's more time to chit chat and maybe, in Stubbs' case, flirt a little.
So if you're pouring, once again, and I'm trying to put myself on both sides of the bar. I've never poured at a private event personally. However, I realize how this works. So at a private event, generally you're going to have a limited supply of booze, whether it be wine, beer, spirits, or whatever. So if someone comes up and they're like, "Hey, do you have a craft beer?" And you're like, "We have Amstel Light, Heineken, Miller Lite, and Sam Adams. Eh, Don't don't question the person serving over why they don't have the newest release of the craft beverage that you heard of that is somewhere 800 miles away that's not distributed to the area in which you're drinking. That's an asshole move. Um, those
Should I put the
people are just
donkey back
pouring
up?
what was put in front of them. So if you want a vodka tonic and you're like, and they ask you what vodka, they're gonna have Stoli or Belvedere or Stoli or yeah, they're gonna have two vodkas and maybe not even.
Yeah.
Order the vodka tonic and be done with it. Like, don't yell at them about what's available. If you want to yell at someone about what's available, yell at your host after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people know, the people pouring generally, whether it be wine, beer, spirits, or whatever, they're pouring what's available to them.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're knowledgeable, especially with the wine world. I mean, we all know spirits and we all know beers, at least brands. So in the wine world, they're like, all right, what do you have? And you're like, oh, I have a Pinot, I have a Cab, I have a Pinot Grigio, I have a Chardonnay. That's what they have.
Yep.
If you ask them what the Chardonnay is and you don't like the Chardonnay, be like, what's the Pinot Grigio? If you don't like that one, be like, all right, what's the red? They don't have more than 3 or 4 choices to pour you.
No.
And they're not gonna produce those out of thin air.
No.
A la Job of Arrested Development as an illusionist. Like, they can't make stuff appear that hasn't been presented.
Doug just said, I want that French vodka I was just reading about, and I'm going to add, in that hipster magazine. Don't you know it? Haven't you heard it?
Right.
Don't be that guy.
Once again, if you're attending that sort of event where that's okay to ask, great. But most of us are not, because it's a wedding, it's a private tasting, it's a after work corporate event. It's one of these things. Most of us are not attending these amazing things.
No, and you're probably not going to get anything fancy. Honestly,
in a private setting.
In a private party, I mean, sometimes people care a lot about the bar. I've been to weddings where they care more about the bar and what's on the bar than they do about their ceremony, right? But in a lot of scenarios, you know, corporate office parties or holiday parties or family reunions, they're going for the cheapest stuff. So your options are going to be very limited, and you may or may not have somebody behind the bar that actually knows anything about the wine. Oh, I was at a wedding once, and I was working behind the scenes, and it was catering staff that was pouring the wine. So I think they had wine and beer. The beer was on the cooler. All of the wine was sitting out on the table except the whites, and it was like 90 degrees outside. There was hot vinegar being poured in those red bottles.
Well, I mean, if it was 90 degrees out, maybe it wasn't quite that warm for the wine, probably a little too much. But if it's that hot at an outdoor wedding, yeah, the bartender should know to chill the wine.
Yeah.
Even the reds. So I'm doing this as an example right now. And viewers of the show know one of my favorite cocktails is a Sazerac.
He drinks them a little.
Yeah, you're not going to go to a private event and be like, make me the best Sazerac I've ever had. Because they're not going to have the bitters. Maybe they'll have bitters, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to do the orange like I just did. They just don't care.
Well, I think if they had the choice, they would do it. I just think that it's the biggest constricting factor in all of this is always budget.
Sure.
And time.
You need to respect the event you're attending, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So will this event have rye whiskey? Most large events probably will not have specific rye.
No.
I want rye in my Sazerac, of course, because that's proper. I want show bitters. I want orange peel, hopefully lit up a little bit to release the oils in there. Can they do that? Yeah. Order simple stuff. You need to order.
Yeah. Know what you like. I think that's the biggest thing. is to take care of the budget and to take care of the time. Know what you like ahead of time. If you're at a wedding and there's two signature cocktails, pick one of the two ahead of time. Or if you don't want one of those, know that you want an IPA or an ale or something simple in terms of beer. My go-to is always a cranberry and vodka. I don't
Ooh,
ask
that's
much
easy.
about the vodka.
Of course.
It's just trying to get your drink and trying to move along. And along the lines, if you get something or somebody that really is knowledgeable, is a great performer in terms of a bartender or passing around knowledge to you, I want to move into the second topic is
Let's do it.
tipping.
Oh,
Yeah. And I think so let me tell you where this comment came from, guys. So I was at an event recently and I did not have a tip cup out and I was working. And the guy asked me, he's like, "Where's your tip cup?" Because he apparently wanted to give me a tip. And I'm like, "Well, that hasn't been cleared. You don't put it out unless you know that you're allowed to in a certain event, especially with private events. You don't always want to put that out." And he's like, "Well, there's a lesson for you for next time." Don't
what
be
I
that
would say
guy.
to that guy, Jen, is
Don't be that guy.
you still have hands. Like you've literally asked if you can tip me. And because I don't have
A cup?
a bar glass or other some sort of vessel here with money in it, you feel like you shouldn't tip me.
Yeah.
If you have to ask the server if they accept tips, that's an asshole move. Like, say, hey, you have a jar around here, and if the answer is no, just slip them the old tip, with a little handshake with the fiver in there, and be like, thanks for taking care of me.
Yeah. And this is, I think, I don't want to stress tipping for everything because sometimes people have different mantras when they look into tipping.
Sure.
But now that I've been on both sides of the fence, I understand more thoroughly what it takes to put up an event, to pop up a bar, right? In any venue.
Of course.
There's cases of wine that have to be brought in, cases of beer that have to be brought in, and yes, you're getting paid to do that, but you're not necessarily getting paid to treat you beyond common courtesy. Now, if you find somebody that has done their job and they've done it well, and they are a good server, they're attentive, they're smiling, going above and beyond just serving you, that is in the range of warranting a tip. And if they're treating you right and you want to continue to be treated right, you should consider that as an option. And all venues that I've seen are pretty darn appropriate for that.
So I will say this, Jen, sometimes especially private events, and I'm going to like weddings, receptions, graduations, whatever, where it's a private party, invite only, and we have bartenders on the scene and it's an open bar. I will many times personally, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, I will wait until the end of the night to leave a tip.
That's fair too.
Yeah. Now, I also think I'm a good enough human and interactive enough with people who are serving me in any capacity because I trust them more. I don't know the background of these people, but if I ask them a question and they answer it, what they know, what they do. So, sometimes you get a wedding or a corporate event, they're literally hiring just people to pour stuff for you. Here's the beer. They know how to do a vodka tonic because those two things are in the drink, or a gin and tonic, or a Jack and Coke, or, hey, I want red wine. Which red wine? We have two. But if I get to know people over the course of an evening to some degree, I will wait till the end of the night to tip. And sometimes I question whether or not that's good or bad. Because I am a very good, having been a server, bartender, service manager, and bar manager at restaurants and establishments, I realize how these things work. So I sometimes question, do you wait till the end of the evening or do you leave an early tip to let them know that you're on a wavelength to take care of you?
I guess that depends on how you want to be treated. Because I do consecutive events that I am at a certain location every week and I have regulars, right?
Sure.
So if you plan to go, like if that's a reoccurring event, you should probably want to tip
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning, because you want to get good drinks throughout that night and then create a good presence going forward.
Sure.
Especially if these people are local and you know they're local, you may see them in the grocery store. I'm just saying, right?
Of course.
And it's one of these things that, and I've been guilty of it in the past too. That you look at the people that are running events and you kind of detach yourself because you're there for the experience and you're living in that experience. But all of those people are very much people and have their own lives. And because I've been working this side of the table, I've started to look at literally everybody, even to the drive up, like going into Taco Bell or McDonald's and like listening to the person on the other end and just wondering how their life is, because you don't think about these things when people are there to make your life more convenient and for you to have a good time. Sometimes you don't think of them as people, just kind of background noise, right?
Mm-hmm. I think if you're asking anyone what's available,
Mm-hmm.
so in a private event, you generally don't have a menu, right?
True. You usually have a couple bottles out and you
Well, like you
figure it
mentioned
out.
Taco Bell. I go up to Taco Bell. I'm like, oh, I can get a burrito supreme and a chicken soft taco. Great. I know what that is. That's $2.59. That's $1.49.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We're not going to tip drive-through attendants, right?
No,
But
no, just in.
if you go up to someone tending bar, whether it's at a strictly wine event or any event with any other pouring things, you're like, hey, what do you have? And inevitably, once again, especially for those of us who are more educated on beverages, especially in the wine world, and we're in the spirit and beer world as well, but we're gonna be like, oh, what Pinot is that? Oh, you have a Pinot and a cab. What Pinot? What cab?
Yeah.
If that person answers your question intelligently, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And not all do, but a lot do. And Jen, I know you're in a different world. I know you know what you're doing and some of the things you've been doing and helping others, helping some of our friends out actually at some of our events you're doing. So it gets into this weird space, right? Like we're wondering, is this a hired hand to do something, or is this a knowledgeable person?
I
If they
think
can
that's
answer two questions in a row, you tip them because they know what they're doing and they've done their homework. How about that? How's that as a tip?
no. I agree, and I totally agree, and I agree. Even more so in terms of if you've received above par service, and if you would like to continue to receive above par service. I mean,
Agreed.
there's like, look, we're human beings, right? So if you were to slip me a couple bucks, you don't think I'm going to remember that? Especially since I see 200, 300 people every Friday. I remember exactly who gives me tips.
Yeah. I
And you wouldn't think, you think if you see a couple tips in there, you think everybody's doing it, because we all have that cognitive.
right.
You see a little bit of it, you expect everybody's doing it. Not really, not really. So $1 or $2 goes a long way, and if you're giving it at a bar, right? Who goes to a bar, gets a
Right.
drink, and doesn't give a tip? Very few people do. Very few
Agreed.
people do. It's the same thing. Kind of sometimes got to look at the same thing as events. And I'm not encouraging anybody that they feel obligated to it, but if you're getting 4 drinks, right, over the course of a night, maybe $2 in the beginning or $2 at the end, that would be a nice gesture, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
This is
just my thoughts.
this is a good point too, though. I go to a private event where I know there's an open bar, and whether it be a wedding, whether it be a corporate event, whether it be a networking event, whatever it is, anytime I go to those events, I make sure I have appropriate bills, cash, so I can tip the people who are serving me beverages, especially if they're mixing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, if it's as simple as Jack and Coke, like, or gin and tonic, all right, great. I want to be able to tip those people and appreciate their service and their speed of service for me.
Speed of service, right?
And also their friendliness, though.
Yeah.
These people are working, and these events, Jen, I know you're working these events, like I said, as friends of, kind of helping out friends of ours here and there. but in a lot of it's wine, but still you're answering questions about what wines are available.
Mm-hmm.
And people will be like, oh my gosh, I like a New Zealand Pinot Grigio. What should I drink? And you're giving them advice on that. Like if you give any advice whatsoever, you deserve some recognition for that. The royal you, not you specifically, but
Yeah.
also you specifically, but the royal you. Everyone deserves that. If you have knowledge, do it.
I think that's a funny point too, because there are many people that come up and they'll look at the line of things that I have and they'll be like, it's always a process of elimination, right? When I'm trying to serve a massive amount of people, it's like, what are you in the mood for? Are you in the mood for red or white?
Of
Okay, we have
course.
3 whites, and it's all like dwindling down, trying to get
Right.
people served what they want and moving along.
Right.
And for me, if somebody can listen to what I have to say, even if it's, I'm in the mood for a white, I
Mhm.
like something that's not too sweet, but not overly dry, and give me a glass of wine that I'll
Mhm.
enjoy for the rest of the evening, like that's
Mhm.
that's good service.
Yep.
And that's above and beyond what they're supposed to do. And
Totally
many
agree.
people think that it's even more important in the wine world than in the beer and maybe in the spirits world, but you're just mixing a cocktail, you're working with what you've got. The beer world is like we usually have 3 selections and they don't really expect you to know so much about it. Maybe it's changing a little bit now with the popularity of craft beers, right? Maybe that's changing, but in the wine world, they kind of expect you to know something. And
All
that
right.
knowledge doesn't come for free.
Once again, Jen, I know we're more in the wine world
Yeah.
as wine antics here and doing our show, but all right. So you go in the wine world, you go to an event, you're like, all right, I've got Pinot Noir and I've got a Cab.
Yep.
Pick. I've got a Chardonnay or a Pinot Grigio. All
Yep.
right, that's it. Those are the picks. Like if you go to any event, those are generally the things you're going to have available, right? So, as a beer person, what beers do you have? All right, we have a lager, we have an IPA, blah blah blah. Well, wait a minute. What IPA is it?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, you can't be that specific because probably these booze are free, and or you've paid a general admission for some of these private events for these things. You take what you get, and you get the best of what's available.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's okay.
And I feel like up to this point we've been kind of one-sided here, and I wanted to bring up some other comments
Sure.
that I received, and a lot of them are indicative of what Lindsay and Ebony and my good friend Nicole said, and even Jim, our good friend here, joked about is, if you're at a private event that's usually open bar or it's cheap
Sure.
pay bar, you're there to get drunk, right? I'm not here to tell you not to get drunk, and that etiquette, when we're talking about it, doesn't mean that you can't have a good time, because Stub and I do it. We're totally sometimes forgetting our own etiquette and being that sloppy guy that's trying to talk with the bartender too much, right? Because we think we
If
know
you think
something
Stub
and we
has
want to have a chat.
several occasions at the end of the evening apologized to a bartender at a private event and left a larger than necessary tip, you're crazy because I've done that a lot.
Yeah. So when we talk about etiquette, we're not telling you not to enjoy or to
Of
have to
course.
take advantage of
Right.
whatever level you want to of your open bar. But I think what we're trying to get to is that there is a level of respect. And because I've been on both sides of the fence now, I wanted to talk about it. I want to share my experiences and I want to share what I've learned, because now I've gained some perspective. And it's not always talked about. It's not a sexy topic. We're not talking about great Pinot Noirs from Oregon, right? We're talking about a topic that is the
Hmm.
insider or ugly perspective on the other side of the house.
Indeed.
Now, I will say, behind the scenes, right? That is it's very akin to being in the military, and I know this may be a going out on a seam on a limb here, but
We're
look, like, there are people, there are caterers, there are bartenders, there are musicians, and these are kind of the three that are almost at every event, depending on the level. They
Okay.
are all working with each other, and I've met some of the best people that I've known in life, the ones that have to band together and work tirelessly to get an event
Mm-hmm.
off the ground. So there are some great people behind the scenes. Just be respectful and don't forget they're people too.
Of course. Of Great advice.
Yeah. It makes it easy on it makes it easier on all of us sometimes just to get that little bit of perspective. So I want to thank everybody for the comments too. I see Carla's been talking a little bit out here. And Rhett, I think if it's a tip at the end of the night, it should be bigger. A couple dollars each drink is fine too. I totally agree with that. So, some things that people don't think about. I spent like 3 years volunteering in the industry, right? In the wine industry, which means I was expected to have above average knowledge of the wine, but I wasn't getting paid anything. So you don't know who is actually getting paid for the information they're sharing with you and who is not. So also, it's always nice to have a level of respect and a level of etiquette to help everybody around you, moving along the line quicker, knowing what kind of drinks you want to have and not crowding the bar space. I don't know if you've been in that situation where people like to have a discussion right next to the bar.
Oh, that's the worst. But that's the worst in any bar, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like, these dudes have a tab open with their 18 buddies behind them, but they're going to order drinks for 4 of them and then crowd the bar.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Don't do that. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. You know what that guy is? Look on the screen right there.
Don't be that guy.
That guy is. Eeyore!
I have another guy to be. I have another guy not to be. Don't be the guy that comes to my line smelling like vomit. Don't be that guy. If you are, I assume for the majority, I'm talking to people that are, in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s. Like, you're learning your tolerance. Be with some good friends that'll take care of you and won't encourage you to be sloppy or get yourself in trouble, because private events tend to mean either family or business.
Oh.
And it doesn't pay to have, with the advent of cell phones everywhere, it doesn't pay to be the guy that smells like puke going up to the table trying to get another drink, or the people at the end of the night that are trying to, trying to get all of the booze as much as possible. Like, agreed. I've been that person at the end of the night. It doesn't look pretty from the other side. I'll just tell you that.
I'm glad we saved this for the last kind of minute, because I feel like it doesn't need to be said, but yeah.
Oh, it does.
If you smell like vomit, stop going to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Grab an Uber or have one of your buddies drive you home.
Yep.
I mean, we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us have all been there. I'm not going to admit that I have been there. However, if you're at that point, if you're at that point and you don't have friends who can usher you home, you need to rethink your life. That's all I'm saying.
Just need to rethink your entire life.
and Stub does not judge on drinking a little too much every now and again. I'm just saying.
No.
But if you're at that point where you smell like vomit and you want another drink, maybe reconsider your life.
No, and I just try to think of private events, and I'm crossing over a little bit with the public events that I do in terms of experiences I've had. But like in private events, these are people that you're going to remember and are going to remember you.
But Jen, we get that. We've all attended or seen that at a private event, whether it be a wedding. And once again, you can forgive a one-off, but like, be cognizant of what you're doing and how much you're drinking, and hopefully you've got a date who can be like, hey, you need to go have like 4.5 bottles of water in the corner.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be like 8 more minutes talking to people, but you do that, and then we're going to go up to our room, which is literally a 3-floor elevator ride. But depending, like, just don't get out of hand.
Yeah.
Overly out of hand. I say this is Stub. Stub gets a little out of hand on occasion, but not overly.
And we all do. We all get a little out of hand.
And once again, it's been my younger years. I've had to have people ask me or help rein me in. But yeah, just realize where you are and what the event is, and that it's not about you. If you're not a bride, groom, if you're not the bride, the groom,
or their immediate family,
promotee, it's a promotion party. I'm trying to think of any of the events we're talking about. the host of the event for like a networking thing for a company to bring in new business.
Yeah.
If you're not any of those people, control your shit. You're in a professional environment, and think of weddings and other things as a pseudo professional environment. You're still representing yourself.
Control your shit. I think that's an
Control your
amazing
shit.
tagline to end the show on. All right. So, Stub, do you have any final thoughts? Because we are at that time, and I appreciate everybody who's come by and everybody who's stuck around to have this discussion. I will post the after party link really quickly here. But, Stub, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts on this? No, we've spoken our piece on this. We're taking a month off, which I'm sad about because Jen and I will talk personally, but we won't be on air together, which I'm sad about for like a month. Oh, I love doing the show. I love doing the show. I love Jen. This is awesome. Other than that, I'm gonna say one bourbon, one shard, one beer podcast. We do those every other Thursday, not with Jen.
No, not with me. I
Those
actually
are
haven't even been invited onto the podcast
I
yet.
have other friends. Oh, great. Well, that's not awkward at all. You
You're
will be.
welcome.
You're on the calendar. You're on the calendar, bitch.
Thank you. See, that's the way to throw it back.
Yeah, I know. Once again, so do that. Look at my videos on Quark and Me, or don't. Whatever. You know, you do you, people. No, I'm gonna miss next month, Jen.
Well, let's talk about it because I think we have enough to do another Halloween episode. Like, I think we had a lot of fun doing that Halloween episode, and I'd like to come back to do that.
Yeah, I've got all the stuff up here. Got a lot of props here for that.
And because we won't be doing anything the week, like, what is that, the first week of November, because we'll be at the Bloggers and Tourism Conference.
Yeah.
So that might be a good trade-off to look forward to in the months of November and December. I know we are going to talk about Canadian wines, which we were hoping to do today, but we're holding off a little bit.
That was a thing.
And lots of holiday discussions.
Yeah.
Lots of holiday discussions.
All the holidays.
All the holidays.
Yeah.
Yep, and I'm going to post the after party link. Join us on Zoom. Love to chat with you guys for a little while. Thank you so much for everybody being here and commenting. I saw Cindy and Rhett and Carla.
And Cindy, Melissa, Carla, Peggy, Lauren, Douglas. Sorry, Jen.
No. You were doing better than me.
Melissa. We have two Melissas.
Yay.
We have two Melissas, a Lauren, a Peggy, a Carla, a Rhett.
A Rhett.
What?
A Rhett. It just sounded funny. So,
no, I'm telling you, I'm just going through while we're here. We're thanking everyone. I'm sorry. We're at the end.
Just a reminder again, we will not be here through the month of October, maybe the week of Halloween to do a Halloween special, but we will be back on air in November and December. It's kind of the way we're going. 2 months on, 1 month off, because we have lives, right? We have projects we're working on. We're doing things behind the scenes, and this is kind of going into this episode mentality. So I hope you'll join us in November and December.
Please do.
All right. Bye, guys. Join the after party. I'm going to post the link right now.
Join the after party.
Boom.
Cheers.